Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cape Breton Krabi Connection, Episode 1. Finally, we're finally here. It's been a long time coming. My name is Chris Kaiser from Glace Bay, Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, Canada, on Earth, if you were wondering. And my best friend is sitting across from me.
Hey, this is Robbie Metcalf. I'm here. I work at Undercurrent. We're doing a podcast, finally ready to do it.
It's going to be fantastic. We are not nervous. We are excited to the point that we are kind of speechless, and we have never done this before, so we are tripping
Learning.
over our words, I guess you
Learning
could
how
say.
to do it.
We're learning. We have notes. We have been researching different things, just trying to figure out, just to make sure it's right. But we plan to wing it a little bit because lots of people have told us that we're entertaining for some reason. I don't know if I believe them. We're going to see if this works. Hopefully it does, because I already printed 500 business cards. So let's see.
We got this. The reason for our podcast is we've been planning it for 7 years. And a few years ago, people were like, oh, you guys are so funny. So we were like, all right, we're just going to jump in and see what we can do with it. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, basically, like Robbie said, it's been a long time coming, and so many people have encouraged us and kind of led us down this road of, you know, you guys have so many crazy ideas. You guys are so funny, which, like I said, I doubt, but we'll see. But a lot of people say all these things, and we're curious to see if it will work. And we've been very excited about it for a long time. And we put it off for years and years, but we're finally here. We made it. We're going to put ourselves out there. We're going to embarrass ourselves probably,
100%.
but it's going to be fine. With that being said, in the excitement, we have set up a studio here at our workplace, Undercurrent Youth Center in Glace Bay, which we will talk about a bit later. But upstairs in the building, we are here with our LED lights and our microphones and our sticker table that we sticker bombed in excitement for this. We also have a whole bunch of stuff on our walls just from things that we like. So, number one being our big Cape Breton flag. We got our $40 Welcome to Glace Bay, Las Vegas sign on the wall from the bargain basket. I have my Chiefs hat on, Kansas City, and my flag behind me with my Patrick Mahomes Funko Pop. I also have a painting I made, which is Cape Breton inspired, and some movie posters and different things like that. And Robbie has some stuff over on his side too.
Yeah, I got a few things. I got my Kente cloth I got when I graduated. It's pretty cool. Uh, Nova Scotia license plate and picked that up at the bargain basket. That thing's pretty sick. I was pretty psyched to find that in the store.
It's a good place.
No football. I'm not a football head. You know, Chris, all about the Chiefs. Even though it sucks that they lost, but
They did
we
lose
won't
pretty
get into
bad.
that right away.
Pretty bad.
I got some skateboarding stuff. I'm into skateboarding. I like that stuff. Yeah, some Funko Pops. It's pretty sick up here.
Oh,
Lights
yeah.
make it so much better.
Lots of stuff. I also forgot to mention that I am the biggest, most ridiculous wrestling fan. I absolutely love WWE for a whole lot of reasons. Mostly my dad, who brought me up watching it. He will probably end up being one of our guests on this podcast. So
That'd be
you'll
pretty
probably get to meet him later. But I have a few Funko Pops, some signs on the wall, one of which that says "The last time is now," which is a John Cena poster. And I pointed to it just before we clicked record, and I said, "The first time is now," which is pretty cheesy, but it worked. Definitely worked. We got a good laugh out of that.
Yeah. Along with a couple years ago, figuring out that we want to do a podcast, we also had another idea, which was a food truck. And now, when you're 13, 14 years old, that's a giant idea, and it's like,
Huge.
well, you're young, so it's like you're never gonna actually do that. And we were pretty dead set on opening a food truck.
100%.
Hint, hint, we never did, but
Not yet.
not yet.
Not yet. We made this come to life. We can do anything.
But we had the crazy idea of opening a food truck. We were gonna sell different foods that we liked, like nachos and Alfredo and spaghetti,
Mr.
and
Noodles.
Miss
No.
Noodles, different stuff like that. We enjoy cooking. We have a special passion for cooking different foods. Not all foods, only certain foods we enjoy cooking a lot. And we get a sense of peace and happiness from cooking certain foods, especially in the summertime when we're on the barbecues.
Oh yeah.
Whew, the excitement that I get from putting hot dogs on a grill
Hot dogs
with
are
some
crazy.
barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce is crazy. It is the best thing you can put on a hot dog. However, there is a certain way to do it, and I'm going to explain that to all of you right now. So, about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were brainstorming some things that we might want to talk about on this podcast, which, as you might be able to imagine, we thought of some pretty ridiculous, kind of stupid things. One of which, for some reason, is hot dogs. And so when I talk about barbecue sauce, for some reason I'm passionate about it. We did warn you that we will be talking about things we're passionate about. And a lot of the times that'll get pretty serious, but sometimes it'll be pretty silly, like barbecue sauce on hot dogs. So the perfect way, to me, and Robbie, you might disagree, but
We'll just have to see.
we'll see.
See what you
But
have
for
to say.
me, the perfect way to cook and eat a hot dog, the ideal experience for a meal of hot dog is you cook it yourself. Okay, has to be on the barbecue with barbecue sauce, and you have to be cooking them in bulk. You can't just cook like a couple hot dogs. Like you got to be cooking like 100 hot dogs, which me and Robbie have done a lot of times.
Too many times to count.
Too many times to count due to our job, and we both love to eat. So the perfect way, you're cooking by yourself, not by yourself, but for yourself and maybe for other people. You have to cook it yourself, is what I'm saying. You put the barbecue sauce on a whole bunch of the hot dogs, and I have this method. It's called the stack method, okay? Which basically means you line up all the hot dogs and you kind of just drench it in Kraft barbecue sauce. I like the Kraft barbecue sauce.
Has to be Kraft.
Has to be Kraft. You're right. We agree so far.
Yeah, we agree so
Good,
far.
good. The disagreement will probably come later. Okay.
Oh, it will.
So Kraft barbecue sauce, you lather them up, okay? It's basically a whole bottle for a couple packs of hot dogs, okay? And then instead of like flipping the hot dogs over to do the other side, what you do is you click your tongs twice. That's essential, okay? Then you pick up a whole bunch of hot dogs and you just stack them on top of each other. And it gets the barbecue sauce. It's like a perfect mix of barbecue sauce. It covers the entire hot dog and it cooks it to perfection. And you have to just stack it and just kind of throw them all together. Make it look real ugly on the grill, but it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. That is my ideal way to cook a hot dog. We will get into the perfect setting to eat a hot dog once Robbie says how he grills the hot dogs.
Well, see, I'm not one for throwing my hot dogs around the grill and making it look ugly. You know, if I'm barbecuing on a nice barbecue, I want to make it look nice and I want to do it nicely. So I agree with lining them up, soaking it in barbecue sauce. But my method is called the roll method.
Ooh.
I roll them side to side. You know, he stacks them, whatever. You're going to miss certain spots on the hot dogs and it's going to be a mess. But I roll them side to side. I let it sit for a minute. I close the grill. I open that boy back up.
Yep.
I let the steam out. I douse it again with some more barbecue
Ooh.
sauce. I give her another roll.
Double the sauce. Okay.
I give her another roll. I close the grill. Leave her for 2 minutes max. 2 minutes. Take those puppies out. They're ready to muck down.
Yeah. That's nice. That's nice. I feel like with your dogs, okay, when I eat your hot dogs, they have a bit of a crisp to them. I prefer it a little bit like not undercooked,
Listen.
but not too crispy.
The crisp,
I don't know-
the crunch when you bite into a hot dog on a soft, fresh bun.
A hot dog's not supposed to be crunchy though.
No, it's not crunchy. It has a little outer crunch.
That's what
little-
crunchy means.
Yeah, but the inside's soft. The outside just has a little flake.
Nah, man, no. I prefer that it is like not. I'm trying to describe it. It's like not undercooked, but it's like perfect. Like it's perfect to me, but that's hard to actually
The
like
whole hot dog.
express.
Come on, the whole hot dog isn't crunchy. It's just bits and parts.
You're right. Okay.
Little,
Yeah.
little hint of crunch.
I
Not
can.
a lot.
Yeah.
Just a little skin crunch.
That is how I would describe your hot dog. You're right. I wouldn't say that is a perfect ideal hot dog.
I didn't say my hot dogs were perfect. I said they were well made.
Mine are perfect. Anyway,
Beggars can't be choosers.
that's right. Getting into, I guess we already did get into the perfect way and setting to eat a hot dog. So,
Well, not really.
bef-
We talked about how to make them.
yeah, but you're talking about the crunch and stuff, right? So, before we get to the crunch, you have to prep that thing, right? You have to prep it. It has to
Yeah.
be the perfect bun, which for me is the ones that are cut on the top, not the side ones. Those are gross.
Can't do the sides.
They're
Too much bread.
That's what I was gonna say. Too much bread. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't even know why they sell. I don't know who buys those. Like, picture this scenario. Okay, you're at the store. You see a pack of buns that are cut on the top, and you see a pack of buns that are cut on the side. Who's gonna buy the ones that are cut on the side? Unless you're in a rush and you're not looking, or you're buying in
Okay,
bulk. You need a
there's-
whole bunch.
There's where your brand of hot dog comes in, because
Oh, I didn't
our
even think of that.
typical barbecue hot dog is either the great value ones, usually, if
Yeah.
you're doing bulk,
Bulk. Yeah.
or Larson's. which are
Walmart doesn't let
still-
us down, man.
Or Larson's, which are decently the same size, give or take.
Yeah.
But
I'd say.
I feel like if I'm using a side cut bun, I have to have a sausage.
Oh,
Sausages go inside.
we're getting
this.
way off track now. We got to talk about sausages on the next episode.
You'll hear
Tune
a whole
in.
sauces
Tune
rundown
in.
on the next one.
And I promise it's not going to be this ridiculous all the time, but this is how we talk to each other on a regular, everyday basis. And the people who know us and come to the youth center here, or our families, I guess, can definitely agree with that we get pretty ridiculous sometimes. But I promise we make a lot of sense in the end.
You're gonna hear
Stay
us.
tuned.
You're gonna hear us go off track quite a bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll go off on so many tangents, but I promise it'll be entertaining.
To continue, here's my point. Top cut bun. I don't know what they're called, but the ones that are
I don't think they have a name.
they probably don't. It's just a hot dog bun.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. But it's important. It really is important when you think about it, okay? Because it's the other one has too much bread and it's an inconvenient bite. Think about that.
And when you go to put it on your plate, it falls to the side.
That's right. And then if you have ketchup or mustard or whatever,
It's
it
everywhere.
makes a mess,
It's
right?
everywhere.
Cheese, maybe. I don't eat them with cheese, but some people do. My
buddy.
dad
Nice hot
puts
dog.
onions on them.
A nice hot dog with some cheese and onion.
Nah, man. My dad does
Buddy,
that. We'll get my dad to continue this conversation when he's on an episode too. He could tell you all about the onions that he puts on his hot dog. For me, okay, like I said, top cut bun, one line of ketchup. Okay, one line of ketchup has to be Heinz ketchup. Is that what it's called? Heinz, right?
Heinz. Yeah.
Okay,
Your
Heinz
typical hot-
ketchup.
Your typical ketchup. is
Yeah,
Heinz.
basically, right? 2 lines of mustard. And that is where I know it gets controversial, okay? Because so many people don't like mustard. And I don't like mustard unless it's on a hot dog or it's in corned beef hash, which I'm pretty sure is a Cape Breton meal. So nobody can say that we're not speaking relevance to the name of our podcast because I like mustard on my corned beef hash.
I don't even remember what I was gonna say. I got too lost in your
Totally
Cape Breton
lost.
meal.
This happens. We will definitely talk about Cape Breton meals. But right now, hot dogs. Okay.
I know
2
exactly what
lines
I
of
was gonna
mustard.
say.
2 lines of mustard.
What I was gonna say was there's some okay. So ketchup alone is okay. Mustard alone is terrible. But there's a certain taste that mustard and ketchup give together. I don't know what it is,
You're right.
but ketchup and mustard together give this certain taste, and I'm like, that's not bad. Like I will eat ketchup and mustard on my hot dog.
100%. I'm glad we agree because I thought for some reason you were going to disagree. I thought that you were going to say no mustard.
Okay, I used to be a ketchup and relish guy,
Oh,
but then the
don't even be
relish
started.
relish isn't the same as when I was a kid. When I was a kid, the relish was all right and had a little bit of a like it was a little bit more liquidy. It was like less chunky, but now
Yeah.
it's so chunky that I'm like, nah, that's not even it. So I've switched to ketchup and mustard, and it's been nice to me so far.
I am convinced, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm convinced that people that like relish don't get enough sleep at night.
Probably don't.
Believe it or not, I've thought about this. I've put deep thought into this, okay? Relish, I don't even know what it's made of, if I'm being honest, but it's a bunch of, it's gross stuff.
Cucumbers.
Gross.
It's cucumber and stuff.
Gross stuff.
I used to be a big relish fan. Like when I was younger, I used to eat like saltines, like the crackers.
That's crazy. You
and
didn't get enough
relish.
sleep as a kid.
Probably not.
I don't know if it's
Since I
sleep.
was hyped up on the relish.
Yeah, probably. Does it have sugar? It probably has lots of sugar.
I don't know. Probably because has like a sweet taste to it.
Anyway, staying on topic, kind of. Staying on my subtopic of relish. It's weird, and I don't like it. And that is a hill I'll die on. I don't think I'll ever try it again. I can't. I just can't do it.
I don't see a reason to be eating relish again. I'm
I-
at the age now where it's like I can kind of pick and choose what I eat on my food.
I see people like, you get the 3 packs of Heinz, like you get the ketchup,
Oh,
mustard,
yeah.
relish, right?
The
I
three
see people
combo.
pick up the relish, and I'm like, dude, like I feel like I need to study this person.
You can get 2 packs of just ketchup and mustard.
That's
as
the way
well.
to go. And you know what? It's probably cheaper. It's definitely cheaper.
Oh, 100%.
Why wouldn't you do that? Because these people who like relish, like I think my dad likes relish actually.
I feel like it's mainly older people.
I
that
feel like
the
dads
relish.
like relish. Like my dad likes relish actually on set. Like yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like anybody over like 35 has a potential of eating relish on at least one thing they eat.
Yeah. I mean, not to judge people by age or anything, but
No,
that does make
There's
sense.
no age judgment here. That's just the scale that lives in my head.
And it might just be a Cape Breton thing. Like, who knows, right? We'll have to look into that. Like, what are the statistics on relish? Like, seriously.
I would be very impressed if there's relish. I can't even pronounce that.
Statistics, yeah.
Yes, thanks. I can't even pronounce that word.
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm sure there is somewhere. They might be hard to find. I might have to check the Cape Breton University library for that. They might have something, but we'll see. We'll look
There's-
into it.
If there's a whole book on that,
We'll do our homework. Well, no, this is our homework. We'll do our schoolwork on relish, which is not even in our notes to talk about relish. We were talking about hot dogs. Did you say your ideal hot dog eating? You did, right? Yeah, you said the ketchup and mustard together with the crisp
Yeah.
and the crunch.
oh, has to have the.
Nah,
has
man,
to
I
have it.
just can't. Like, I will if it's what's there, but like that's why I said my ideal situation is when I cook it myself because I know exactly how I like my hot dog. Here's another thing that I don't like for some reason: people who put barbecue sauce on their hot dog off the grill.
After it's done.
Yeah, that is like, who wants cold barbecue sauce? Even if it's room temperature, it needs to be like baked in or onto the hot dog for
It's
me.
like, why
me
was
to
the
like it.
hot dog cooked with barbecue sauce anyway if you were going to put it on afterwards?
Or just people who don't even cook it with barbecue sauce and they put the barbecue sauce on after. Like, that's just like,
Barbecue sauce is a sauce that's meant to be cooked.
it's almost like it's a crime. Like when I see it, I
That's controversial. I know a lot of people eat the barbecue sauce just like straight out the bottle, but I'm a person that likes my barbecue sauce cooked on what I'm eating.
I had this conversation with my family the night of the Mike Tyson fight because my dad made chicken wings, put Kraft barbecue sauce on it after they were cooked, just mixed it around in the bowl. I was like, this is
Oh,
room.
He gave it the old pouring toss.
Yeah, he did. And I was like, this is room temperature Kraft barbecue sauce. And I mean, I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but room temperature barbecue sauce, you got to bake that in. You know what I mean?
When you say room temperature, is your family the type of family to leave the condiments in the cupboard?
If they're unopened.
Well, I mean, if they're open.
Like, no, definitely in the fridge. But he cracked this Kraft barbecue
Because
sauce and
there
just
is-
dumped it in the bowl.
There is people out there that I'm like, hey, can I use your ketchup? And they run over to the cupboard and like, here's the ketchup. I'm like, bruh,
Wow.
I like my ketchup and my mustard to be cold. I don't want
That's
you pull,
another thing.
I don't want you pull my condiments out of your cupboard.
No, that's crazy. I agree with that 100%. They have to be cold. They have to be out of the fridge. Barbecue sauce, I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter because it's getting baked on the grill anyway.
Barbecue sauce has to be baked.
Yeah. I mean,
Baked
if
on whatever you're cooking.
but if it's open already, obviously it'll be in the fridge. But if it's not, it's
Like, there's
definitely in the
just-
cupboard.
There's some things that you can slide having barbecue sauce put on after,
I would argue against that. I would.
but there's not many. Like if I make chicken stir fry, sometimes I put barbecue sauce in my stir fry
Nah.
and I'll put it in afterwards, but the food is still hot and on the pan. So I guess arguably it does get kind of cooked.
Here's the thing, though. You could say that about a hot dog as well because the hot dog is hot.
Okay, so I guess technically it does get cooked. So I guess not. I guess there is no foods that you can.
I don't think there's an exception to my disagreement with cold and or room temperature barbecue sauce on food. The only time it should be cold or room temperature is if it's not being eaten or cooked. If it's on the shelf or in the fridge or on, being made or being packaged. That's the only time. That's the only excuse. If you are cooking or if you are eating, the barbecue sauce should be cooked. with whatever it is. And there's only a few things I would actually eat barbecue sauce with. Definitely pork, which I guess hot dogs are pork too. So probably just pork if I think about it. And I guess chicken wings because of that one time.
Okay, well, just pork. Do you eat barbecue sauce on your bacon?
No.
Okay. I just had to
No,
clear
like
that
pulled
up.
pork or like pork
Okay,
ribs.
just had to clear it out of the air because
know,
I know some people out there were gonna be thinking like this guy eats barbecue sauce on his bacon.
Thank you for clearing that up because I don't need our Cape Breton and or rest of the world fans thinking I'm some weirdo that likes barbecue sauce on my bacon. And if you're out there listening and you like barbecue sauce on your bacon, please text me and we can talk about that. Maybe we'll have you on the podcast because barbecue sauce and relish seem to be the subtopic of our hot dog discussions, which we're getting away from, but that's fine.
It's okay.
It is.
It's okay. This barbecue sauce talk brings me back to my saltines and relish because barbecue sauce was the other condiment I've eaten on saltines. I'd be like 7 years old sitting there with a bowl of soup crackers and relish or barbecue sauce and just dip it in and giving it a good old muck. And it's like,
Oh, yeah.
that was a good snack to me. But now that I'm older talking about it, it sounds nuts.
Yeah.
And like, why would I even think of that?
You know, a good childhood snack for me, you grab a piece of bread, you get some peanut butter, you lather it up. Instead of making a peanut butter sandwich with 2 pieces of bread, you make a peanut butter sandwich with 1 piece of bread and you do the fold. You do the fold. That is ideal.
They taste different.
And they really do taste different. They really do. It's like a whole other world of peanut butter sandwich that it's like most people probably haven't even dived into, but you know, Cape Breton, you know, that's the kind of stuff we do.
Peanut butter sandwiches off. But when I was younger, I had this friend and I'd hang out with this guy every day. That's a whole other topic. I could go on forever about that topic. But we would make peanut butter sandwiches. Most people would add jelly, jam, or some people would add bananas.
Oh, I do that. I still do that.
But he had this thing where he added brown sugar to his peanut butter sandwich.
Huh, never heard of that.
And at first I thought this guy was right out to lunch. I'm like, no, this guy's nuts.
He was eating lunch, so he was out to lunch.
He went over to the next town, grabbed some brown sugar. That's how out to lunch he was. Anyway,
went to Newater for it.
I thought this guy was crazy. All right, and he's like, no, bro, you just gotta try it.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to his kitchen and we start dropping peanut butter and brown sugar into a sandwich. And I'm thinking, bro, this is probably gross, and I'm probably not gonna eat it. Bro, I ate the whole sandwich. I think I went back for seconds.
Probably made another one, eh? Nice.
It wasn't bad. It was an alright sandwich, and I ate that for years after. Like I would make that all the time for years after.
How much brown sugar?
Not a lot. Just a little like top glaze of it,
Does it really make that much of a difference?
Oh, it makes a difference.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that this week, and when we record our next episode, I'm gonna give everyone an update on how I'm gonna give our 0 listeners an update on how I like the peanut butter brown sugar sandwich. I can't even speak, but yeah, that's how excited I am to try this.
It wasn't bad. It was all right.
Okay.
Like speaking of what I remember, it was all right. But, like, I don't fully remember because I was, like, 10, 11 years old.
Wow.
Maybe younger, so I don't know for sure. But
yeah, well, maybe we'll try.
I remember
we'll have to try them this week then. That's a good idea. We should do that. I would do that.
Yeah, I'm down. Screw it. We'll do it.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of food talk. We were only supposed to talk about our food truck and then hot dogs, but that's okay because that is exactly what we do on an everyday basis. We, 1, don't shut up, and 2,
get on the long living tangent.
We just don't. Yeah, we just keep talking and talking and talking about the craziest things that are completely irrelevant. We cook a lot. We really cook a lot. We cook here at our job a lot. We make. I personally, my favorite thing to make here is pancakes. Like whenever the kids at the youth center are hungry, I'm like in the back of my head, I'm like, I hope they want pancakes because I just. There's a certain joy I get from firing up our griddle. I cook 6 pancakes at a time. They're like they're mini pancakes. They're like, they're not like big pan pancakes. They're like
a couple bites.
Yeah, exactly. But like I put so much pride and joy and love into these pancakes. It's crazy. Like there's been days where I've made like 300 and 400 pancakes. Like we have an annual fundraiser here, a pancake breakfast. And I chef it up, and I'm so proud when the event is over, because like people don't even come up to me like, oh, that was a good pancake. Like a few people did, but it doesn't even matter because I'm just like in my heart, I just know that it was a good pancake. Chocolate chip pancakes.
Yes, I was just about to say it has to
Yeah,
have chocolate chips.
chocolate chip pancakes. I make a decent plate. Chocolate chip is where I'm really thriving in lately. if that's the right
I
wording.
enjoy cooking pancakes. Like I know how to make an alright pancake. I would much rather cook other stuff though. Like I enjoy cooking grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese.
Like I can mess up a pan of grilled cheese.
Oh yeah, you can also fit 6 grilled cheese on our griddle. So 6 pancakes at a time or 6 grilled cheese at a time. We've figured that out, trial and error. But yeah, that's how many. Grilled cheese for me, it's slightly annoying to make in bulk. Like, because think about it, you have to butter every piece of bread. You have to open every cheese slice. And I don't know about you, but I loathe opening cheese slices. Like, if we have enough staff, if we're having grilled cheese and I'm cooking, I usually take a staff member with me just to open the cheese.
Oh yeah, well, I
'Cause
get people to open the
I-
cheese. all the
it-
time.
it
I'm like,
just
"Hey,
kinda-
can you open this and put it on the bread, and I'll cook."
Yeah, it just kind of ticks me off. I didn't even get them to put it on the bread. I just get them to open like one side, and then I just am able to pick it up off the wrapper and put it on because I have a system. And opening cheese slices isn't
It doesn't
a
fit in the
convenient.
system.
It's not a convenient part of the system, I'll say. But the griddle is really fun to use for some reason. I love it. If I could cook everything on that griddle, I think I would.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to it now because I've cooked on it so much.
I mean, we got a whole stove and probably 15 frying pans, but something about the griddle
something
just
about the
makes
griddle.
the food that much better.
It really does.
Along with cooking at Undercurrent, we also do a lot of other things. Like here at the youth center, we also offer a lot of programs. Like we do movie night, we facilitate an art program, we have floor hockey and scooter, we have skateboard on Sunday. Our favorite program is drop-in on Thursday nights.
Yeah, so drop-in is the one program that is designed that the kids come in and they get to kind of experience a whole week of Undercurrent in one night, I guess you could say. So
Yeah.
we have free time, which they're allowed to go skateboard. They're allowed to climb our rock wall. They're allowed to scooter. They're allowed to play basketball. They're allowed to shoot a game of pool. They're allowed to play air hockey.
Board games.
Lots and lots of board games. And we always have a meal and we do a little talk. And so me and Robbie facilitate that program ourselves. We have a certain amount of staff and volunteers that come. And like Robbie said, it's just our favorite program. It's the program that I first started coming to 9 years ago when I was 11 years old. It holds a special spot in my heart for the reason that I am here doing what I love. I want to dedicate my life to helping the people and the youth of Glace Bay, my hometown, in Cape Breton, the place that we love. And we do that every week, Thursday nights at drop-in, because the kids get to experience a little bit of everything, and that way they get to kind of focus in on what they like. So if they come on Thursday and they really like skateboarding, they can then come to the program that is just for skate on Sunday that Robbie runs.
Yeah. I enjoy dropping a lot, but the program that I would say I put most of my work into would be skateboarding on Sunday afternoon, because probably give or take 11 or 12 years ago, that was one of the first programs I've came to was skateboarding. As soon as I came in and I started skateboarding, I was like, I want to do this when I'm older. I have something to do with skateboarding, so that's what I do every Sunday afternoon is I help run a skateboard program or run the skateboard program, I would say. That's what sets me up for my week. I'm like, all right, I did skateboarding. I'm ready for the week.
Ready to go, yeah.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of kids here just from all different really backgrounds and places in life. So we open our programs from anywhere to grade primary to 12, depending on the day and the time. It's for different ages. So most of our programs are for elementary, or not most of our programs. Part of our programs are just for elementary, and then part of our programs are just for junior and senior high, which drop-in is our junior and senior high program, which is teenagers, which we just were teenagers. We're now 20,
Yeah.
but we have been working in this field and volunteering I've been here 9 years. Robbie, you've been here, what, 12?
Something like that, yeah.
And so we've experienced a lot of different things, a lot of which that are heartbreaking, you could say. But we do it anyway because we love our town and we love our island, as I've said before. And that's why another thing is why I thought it was so important to have the name Cape Breton in the title of the podcast, because We want everybody to know just how much we love this place, and we want to fix it, because if you don't know, Cape Breton is a wonderful place, but as with anywhere, we definitely have our struggles. And a lot of that revolves around our youth and our teenagers and our kids. If we can be a light here in the darkness, like, it is the best feeling in the world. And that's why I work now at Undercurrent. I can say work now because I have just been hired for a couple hours a week just to run programs and do stuff I love. I couldn't be happier. I just love the things we do. And here at Undercurrent, we're able to put our ideas into a reality, which is why we're filming our podcast in the attic of the building. I mean, we kind of have that role and that responsibility and that privilege to be here, not only doing what we love, but being able to have the fun parts, when the kids leave, as a staff and as a friend group, as a family. Just the things that we all are able to do and accomplish is beautiful.
We've done a lot to get to where we are today. We've done endless hours of volunteering and work to help get the building to where it's at today. And the position I'm in now is the assistant program supervisor. I'm very, very happy with where I am and the job that I have been privileged with, and I enjoy it a lot. I just love doing whatever I can to make sure that every kid that comes in here is opened up to almost like a new world, new experience.
That's a good way to put it, because that's the way I felt when I first came. I was 11 years old and never experienced anything like this before. I walked in and I saw people who were smiling and people who were like asking me how I was doing. And it wasn't in like a weird, like, oh, you're an adult and you're a stranger. It was like such a careful and comforting way of just, hey, we're glad you're here. Do you want something to eat? And I was like, yeah, I want something to eat, because as you may have guessed, me and Robbie absolutely love food.
Yeah.
It's undeniable. They were so welcoming, and now me and Robbie are in that position where
We get to do the same thing.
exactly, like, we get to be that face that the kids see when they walk in, and offer them stir fry or Alfredo or pancakes.
Oh,
Hundreds of
yeah.
pancakes. We give away pancakes by the barrel here, because we just not only do we love cooking them, as we said, but we know the kids like it. They like the pancakes. They love the chocolate chips. And we're like, yeah, we're just going to keep making these pancakes because the kids will eat them. And if they don't eat them, they'll take them home and their family will eat them.
Exactly.
And some of these kids, maybe going to home, like, their home might not have as much food as some of the other kids. And that, we get to provide that to people. And I don't say that in a prideful way for myself, but rather a reflection of the organization and the family that we've been able to build here. I don't try to credit just one or two of us, even. Just the whole system works beautifully.
Everybody that works in this building and or volunteers in this building is a team. We are a
100%.
team and a family, and we work together to make sure that every kid that comes in here is taken care of with whatever they need.
Yeah. Big thing we believe in is safe space. So just like a space that they can come and just feel safe. Like, if they don't feel safe at home or they don't feel safe at school, maybe they don't even feel safe walking down the road, they can feel safe here. And I feel like we've done that, and we're continuing to do that, which is just incredible.
Yeah.
And we're able to do it every day. We both have made the time to be here and to, put in those hours and see those results, as well as everyone else who's involved with this place. Big shout out to Meg, who is our program coordinator, also our best friend in the world. This place wouldn't exist anymore without her. She puts in so much time, blood, sweat, tears, and energy into this place. We'd be fools to not give credit to our friend. So thank you, Meg, if you're listening.
100%.
Also, Trevor, our executive director, workhorse, just funny guy, great singer too, does a lot for us as well. We really appreciate everything that you do too, Trevor. Hope you're listening. That is just a little bit about Undercurrent. We wanted to add that into our first episode, just get that out of the way, because we're going to be talking about it a lot, because the reality is it's our entire life. I wake up in the morning and I go to school at Cape Breton University, and then I come here and I'm here till midnight. We run programs, and then afterwards, as a staff and as a friend group and as a family, we hang out and maybe we plan the next day, maybe we plan a podcast, or maybe we're just playing a board game, but we have a great time. And it's after a terrible 2024, other than here,
Yeah.
Here was the only good thing in my 2024. 2025, I've dedicated so much more to this place because I get so much out of it. It gives so much back to me. Gives me a reason to get up in the morning and to live. And I'm just overly grateful. And like I said, we're really silly and we're really funny, but we can definitely get serious. And when undercurrent is a discussion topic, it's definitely a serious one.
Yeah, we've put a lot into this place, and this place has put a lot into us as well. We've learned a lot of what we know from just being here.
Yeah, like we mentioned cooking. Like I learned how to cook here. Like my parents are great. I hope you're both listening. My whole family's great, my sisters, but I learned so much here. And my family will tell you, when I was a teenager especially, I favored this place over my family, and that's no fault of them. For a lot of kids it is. They want to get away from their family. That definitely wasn't my situation. It's just that this place was so desirable and I learned so much here that I wanted to come back. But with that being said, I was able to learn so many skills like public speaking skills and cooking skills and different things like that here over the years. It's just awesome that we are able to spread that knowledge to the next generation, the 14-year-olds that we have at our programs. It's awesome.
I enjoy it. When I see the young kids come in here, I almost see myself back a few years ago. What did I want and what did I get when I came in here that we should give to these kids that walk in? Friendliness, kindness. Just talk to them. Ask them to play a game or something. We try and do that as best as we can, just so every kid that comes in feels comfortable and they want to come back.
Definitely. We try to encourage all of our staff and volunteers to talk to the kids when they come in because that might be the only, solid conversation that the kid had that week. They might go home and either their parents are absent or maybe they hear a lot of arguing at home. Maybe they don't go home. Maybe they go for a walk after school every day. But when we open our doors and the kids are able to come here and have someone not only talk to them, but listen to them. Like I had a great friend who worked here and his thing was he didn't really care what he was talking to you about, but as long as you were talking to him, it was like really important to him to listen and to try to understand. Like even if he didn't know what you were saying, like if I were to talk about like wrestling, it's like, yeah, I don't really watch that. He does now because of me. If I were to talk about wrestling, and he'd be like, yeah, I don't really know about wrestling, but I'm going to listen to this kid because it's clearly important to him. And so, for example, like I don't know anything about cars, but if a kid came in here and was talking about cars, I'd either find Robbie, you, because you know a lot about cars, or most likely I would just listen, just try to listen and make the kid feel like they're being heard so that they want to come back and, prevents them from being somewhere else, maybe doing something bad.
And with what we do for the kids last summer, was it last summer? Yeah, it was last summer.
This past summer.
Just past summer, yeah. So for the summer, we end all of our programs, but we wanted to still continue to do stuff for the kids during the summer. So we came up with the idea of a summer camp. We wanted to facilitate a camp for younger kids that we don't see every day to come and just get the summer camp experience pretty much for a week.
Yeah, definitely. It was saying it was a great week is an understatement. I remember that Thursday. It was a 4-day summer camp, Monday to Thursday.
Yep.
That Thursday when the last kid walked out the door, I actually, and I'm not ashamed to say this, because I think it'll really get across the point of how passionate that we are. When the last kid walked out the door, I broke down in tears because the week was just such a success.
Yeah.
Like every kid was just, and mind you, these were a bunch of kids that had never been to anything before. This was their first.
We've never met any of these kids.
Most of them, maybe one or two, but
Maybe.
honestly, I don't even think. Maybe
I
it
don't
was
know.
all of them that were new. They all walked in there on the Monday completely silent because they had never been there before and their parents just took them. They walked in and by Thursday, they were asking us to help. Like they wanted to help prep for the next thing we were doing for the camp. Like if we were trying to set up a game, like, hey, can I help you? Or if like I was making waffles one day and the kids wanted to help me. And by the Thursday, it was like they completely broke out of their shell. And I feel like that is a good reflection on the work that our staff actually did here for that week, because these kids that were super shy, they felt comfortable enough to be a part of this. And a lot of them since then have come back. They're here for programs throughout all this year.
We see some of those kids on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
at our programs.
Where before we had never met them before the summer camp.
Yeah.
And so when I say I broke down on that Thursday, it was just like a bittersweet ending to the week, and I want to do it again this summer.
Oh, 100%.
But it was a bittersweet thing because of like we accomplished this thing, and this was at the point where we didn't even know if any of the kids were going to come back, but we had accomplished this thing where these kids had broken out of their shells and really like put themselves out there to want to help us and like just be involved. And then like it was a bit of a fear too, because I was like, oh, like maybe that's it. And then like the next week we started our brunch program that we run every summer, and like half of the kids that were at the summer camp showed up. And
Yeah.
I might have cried that day too, actually, but I don't know if I did. But it was just great because like we don't know the home situations for these kids, but no matter what it is, it's just a great thing that they've decided, whether it was them or their parents, they decided to trust this place and to be here. And I think that's awesome.
Very. It was a fantastic, and I would love to do it again.
I think we should do it
Oh,
again.
yeah, 100%.
And I want to do a summer camp for the youth too, like the teenagers as well.
Yeah,
I think
that'd be cool.
maybe run that the next week, like immediately following the kids one. I think for a couple of days would be great too.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So while we were working in the summer, full time. We got grants to work here at the youth center, but we had a few days that we were able to take off, luckily, to plan a trip that we used to go to this place called Camp Evangeline. I went a few times.
I went a couple times.
You went? Oh yeah, you did.
Like
You did.
two
Yeah.
or three, maybe.
Yeah. So I went. I went about that too, but I think we went different years.
Yeah.
We used to go with Undercurrent when we were attached to Lighthouse Church, which is another reason I started coming here, which we can definitely talk about on another episode.
100%.
So Lighthouse and Undercurrent took us when we were teenagers to this place called Camp Evangeline. It's what is it, 4 hours, 5 hours away?
Something like that, yeah.
It's near Truro, in Nova Scotia here, where we're from.
Bible
So it's
Hill, isn't
it's-
it? No.
near there.
Debert?
Yeah, it's called DeBert. That's the town it's in, but it's near. It's 15 minutes, I think, from Truro.
Something
It
like
is
that,
something
yeah.
like that. We got lost actually on the way, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so we were able to get a few days off and go on this trip because we used to go when we were teenagers, but we haven't gone in a few years. And we kind of looked at each other last year and we were like, we're adults now and I have a vehicle and we can actually go if we want to. We saved up a couple paychecks, I think, and we actually did it. We took some couple days off and we went up to this camp, Camp Evangeline. We went to visit our pal, Pastor Art, and just spend a few days up there and go to some church services. And we have a lot of funny stories from that trip, which we want to end this first Pioneer episode with a bang, I guess. We have some crazy stuff that happened when we were away.
Oh, yeah. Where do we even begin with this?
Yeah, it's
Like-
hard to
like-
pick a spot to narrow in on.
As you guys know right now, it just sounds like a couple guys went off on a trip and went to camp and sat in on some church services. But no, there's a lot more.
There is a lot more.
So on this fine morning, we jump into Chris's pickup truck, which I mind you is like currently on its at the end of its life. But that's another whole.
We're gonna
story.
talk about that on
That's
the next
another story.
episode.
Anyway, we climb into his pickup truck, and we hit the road. And we're making good time. We're cruising, we're going, and we stop at this little convenience store, and I think it was Member 2. And it was it was like a little market, and it was nice. And we're there, and we pull in, and we go in, and we get our stuff, and we come back out. And there's this guy standing outside at this table with headlight cleaner. And he comes up to us, and he's like, would you like to try the headlight cleaner? And Chris was looking at him like, what?
Yep.
And I go, sure, buddy, why not? So he douses Chris's headlights in the headlight cleaner, and he had like a catchy jingle for it. He's like, it's like spray it on and it's gone in a jiff or something like that. And he sprays it on, leaves it say. He starts rambling on, filling in the time it takes for it to soak in, and wipes off the headlights, and the headlights are clean. I was pretty amazed myself.
This guy was a good salesman. Like he
He knew
knew
what he
how to
was
get the
doing.
product across.
We were mean. We didn't buy the product.
We didn't.
We were just like, nah, man, we're good, and hopped in and left.
Part of me wanted to, but We were busy.
It was good stuff, but I'm gonna leave it at that for that headlight cleaner because Buddy was out to lunch with that.
He was a funny guy. I remember I've seen this video of this guy. He's like cleaning someone's deck. He knocks
Rust
on the door.
spots.
It's hilarious. And this guy reminded me of him so much
Yeah.
because he was like so good at his job. It's almost like he was gonna get 100% commission. Like he wanted us to buy this product. He was good at it, but we unfortunately just kind of
Hopped in the truck and drove away.
well, after we let him clean my headlights, we were like,
I think he only cleaned one of them as well.
did he only clean
I
one
think
of
he
them?
only cleaned one.
He cleaned the part of the windshield, I think, or he cleaned a couple different parts.
Your
I know.
mirror, I think.
Yeah, the mirror, I think maybe.
Just little things trying to get Chris to buy this cleaner for his truck. But we didn't buy the cleaner. We hopped in the truck and we dipped.
So
Alright.
basically, we continued on our trip with a half clean truck.
I would say quarter clean.
Quarter clean
Quarter
truck.
clean
Yeah.
truck.
It looked mint.
Anyway, so his truck's doing a little bit better. It's quarter of the way clean. We're trucking along the highway. We're going a decent speed. We got some. We're making tread.
Eminem on the radio.
Oh, the new Eminem album just came out.
Like 2
oh,
days
like-
before we left.
Yeah, 2 days before. So we had that on. We're bumping. All right.
It was difficult to not listen to it before the trip because we planned. We were like, we're gonna listen to the album on the trip, like on the way up.
Yeah.
And I was like, wanting so bad to just click play on Spotify, but
for 2 days. For 2 days.
Yeah, I held out for Robbie and for the trip. Luckily,
All right. That album was, mind you, amazing. It was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Well made. But
perfect.
we got to the end of the album and then we're just listening to whatever Chris has in his playlist for our road trip playlist he made.
Yep.
And then the music shuts off and we're like, what's going on right now? And we're going pretty fast. We're trying to make good time. We're trying to get a little bit of extra time before we get to camp to look around a little bit. So he's on the gas pedal. He's on it. And we're going. And his phone at the time wasn't the most high tech thing in the world,
It's true.
like $150, get you Walmart special.
No, it was Amazon.
Amazon. Get you
Prime.
Amazon. special.
Amazon Prime phone.
His phone, as I said, it was not high tech at all. So we're booming down the highway and the music stops. And as Chris would be, he would start cursing or whatever, like what the F, man, and all this stuff. And he pulls out his phone and
Terrible.
there's a cop calling him back. Calling him. Actually, we didn't know it was a cop. There's a number calling him back, and I called him back like 5 times. And he's like flipping at his phone. He's like, I don't want to answer the call and all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, just give me your phone. So I take his phone, I answer it, and it's the cops. And they're like, are you good? Emergency or whatever. And I'm like, no. I'm like, my buddy's phone's like tweaking out. It's just spazzing and it's super hot and the music's not playing and cops are on the phone and we're doing a healthy speed down the highway.
That's right. Through New Glasgow.
Yeah.
On the highway.
And the phone just the whole way through New Glasgow just spazzed out. And I think as soon as we got into New Glasgow, it was fine. It
Yeah.
just worked.
I will add one part you missed. When the girl on the phone, I think she was a 911 operator.
Yeah.
We didn't call 911 because we were just listening to music, and then all of a sudden, just dead stop. Like radio was on max, and it's like it went to 0. Like what happened? What the heck, right? So I just kind of I don't know where I think I had the magnet thing then. So I just
Yeah.
kind of powered my phone on with one hand really quickly and looked, and it was like someone calling. And I just hung up really quick and kept driving. Like we didn't stop driving this whole time.
No, we were
Going through New Glasgow, like Robbie said, at a healthy speed. And they call back 5, maybe 6 times, and we're just frantically hanging up because it's like, who is this person? I'm just trying to get the music back on, right? And then I think I got you to pick up.
I told you to give me your phone because you were just trying to hang it up.
Yeah.
Put the music back on. But I was like, no, give me it now.
I don't think we knew who it was at that point.
No, we didn't.
And so the part you left out is the 911 operator when you picked up. She asked if it was an emergency, all that stuff. She said, "Oh, we have to continue calling," which makes sense. And she said something along the lines of, because you kept saying, "Oh, we're okay. My buddy's phone's just whatever," right? She said something along the lines of, "Is someone forcing you to say this?" And I'll never forget the look on your face. You were just like, "No? What do you mean?" And she was like, "Is someone forcing you to say like that you're okay?" Like, I don't know if she thought we were at gunpoint or what was happening.
Okay, if we're in this all right, if we're in this truck flying down the highway at gunpoint and we pick up the phone and she asks if we're getting forced to say this, I don't think if I have a Glock 9 in my head, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, buddy's behind me right now.
Yeah. Luckily, they didn't send anybody. They believed us, which, I mean, we were telling the truth. We were just trying to get the music back on, man. But we did see, like, 10 minutes later, we saw this ambulance, like, flying towards us with the lights on. So I pulled over, and I thought, like, because I remember, like, hearing as a kid, like, they can ping your location, right? And so I thought, like, maybe they were tracking
Game
my
over.
phone.
We
and-
thought game over.
and that they were all coming for us. We were getting fire, we were getting ambulance, and we were getting a whole bunch of cops on us, on our tail in New Glasgow. Or we were probably to the next town by then. And I was like, I hope they don't like pull me over specifically. Like I pulled over to move out of the way, of course, but I hope they were gonna pull up behind me and get out and do CPR or something. Like that's the kind of stuff that was going through my head. I was like, oh no, like I hope they don't think like we were lying, or because I was just so worried. I'm like, for one, I just want my music back. For two, I'm just trying to get to Debert. And three, this girl won't stop calling me. Like, please just leave me alone. I'm fine. But with that being said, I completely understand that they have to keep calling and go through all. Because here's the thing: if I did have a gun to my head, I'm glad that she called back, right? Because it's like, yeah, I kind of need your help.
But it's also like we're also not just gonna tell her over the phone, hey, yeah, buddy's behind me right now, threatening me with this weapon.
That's true. There's movies about that. We should take tips from that. Okay, here's my prediction. This happens again next summer. But there is someone with a gun and we're like, "Oh man, she's not going to believe us this time."
I don't think she's gonna remember who we are.
Maybe. She might. It's a
Next summer comes, we're driving through New Glasgow. This lady's on working again on call, and she's like, "Oh, it's these guys again."
Oh yeah. We're that memorable. We'll just be like, "You don't know us? We're from the Cape Breton Krabi Connection, the podcast." That didn't exist then. Isn't it crazy? We've been talking about this topic now for 10 minutes or more, and we haven't even gotten to Truro yet.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Well,
that's how eventful the trip was.
that brings me to
The next point.
we get into Truro finally.
Finally.
And so we go to the grocery store, and
Sobeys.
yeah, we go to Sobeys and we get our food and whatever we want to make. Steak, whole buddy, I can't even.
Oh,
we'll get to that later.
I make a mean steak.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But we leave the grocery store and we get turned around. So we pull into this parking lot to spin around and go back the other way. But we notice that it's a record store. Or it was a vinyl collector store. And
Yeah.
we're like, screw it, we're gonna go in. So we go in.
We had all the time in the world.
We go into this place, and the guy working was interesting. We go when we're looking around and whatever, and I asked this guy if he has Jacob Banks, because I'm like, Jacob Banks is one of my favorite artists. I got shown him by an old friend of ours, Daniel, and I was like, I'm gonna ask this guy if he has any. So I went up to him and I'm like, hey, you got any of this guy? He was very I don't know how I would put it, proper, spoken almost.
Yeah, he was a bit strange.
I don't even know how to explain it. Like,
He was just
I can't form the word to explain how
odd.
this guy was.
He was
just,
odd.
He was just an awkward, odd, proper spoken guy, and he's like, "No, we do not have that acquired taste or something." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, bud."
Yeah.
So I walk away and I go and I buy an NWA album, fantastic album anyway. I buy this album and we go up to the counter and Chris notices stairs that go up to the next level and sees a bunch of records up there. And Chris asks him, he goes, "Is there another floor or more records up there?" And I don't even remember what he exactly said. What was his response?
He
to
basically
that?
said like, "Oh, it's just storage up there or something," which is fine. But the bottom floor was like bare, like there wasn't that much stuff. And then the top floor, like you could almost see the ceiling getting ready to cave because of how much stuff was clearly up there. And like the stairs were like, it was only a few steps up, and so we could see like part of this room, right? And then there was another set of stairs, I think, that was even further up. That's where we saw, I think the ceiling must have been ready to cave in from all the vinyl that he had up there. But I basically was like, yo, can we go up there? Like, I'm looking for some Frankie Valley in the Four Seasons, and you ain't got none downstairs. Can we go check upstairs? And this guy, I mean, well within his right to say no, but it's just like
way
Robbie
he
said,
said
the
it.
way he said it, it's like, it's almost as if he just didn't want us to be in his store.
Like inconvenient.
It-
for
it was
him
like it was-
for us to be shopping. there.
Exactly. It was like, it's like he saw us come in and he like sighed. It's like, we should have asked him if he was okay. Really, like,
Yeah.
reflecting back, another thing to add, this wasn't a traditional store. It was actually a house that had a big sign on the front and a big like deck. It made it like, it was like repurposed. It was like a home that was repurposed into a shop, I guess. And so, like I said, completely understand we weren't allowed upstairs, but it was just the way that he came across. It was like, he just seemed annoyed at us. Like, I think I asked him, hey, is there any Four Seasons here? He just like had this attitude about him that was like, please don't talk to me and get out of my store. And we were just we were completely caught off guard because we're so used to people being nice, I guess. So we took a trip away, which isn't that far away, but I guess there's a whole thing of like Cape Bretoners are really nice. Well, I feel like the saying is that like East Coast Canada is really nice, but I think after that trip, I think we can safely say it's specifically Cape Breton that's like particularly nice, because this guy, and I'm not speaking on all of Truro or all of Cape Breton for that matter.
It was
But this-
just I think it was just that guy for that whole trip. He just had an attitude to him.
It was weird. Well, the 911 operator wasn't the nicest either,
If by
but
some
well within
slim-
her right.
If by some slim chance that this guy that works in this record store 15 towns over happens to listen to this podcast someday and he's like, I remember those guys. No offense to you, buddy. No offense to your profession, but lighten up a little bit.
You lighten up, like, yeah. It's just that
Unbutton the
simple.
top button of your shirt or something. You're a little uptight.
Exactly. It was a fun part of the trip. You got a record. I didn't get a record because I wasn't into that yet. I will say, because I am now. I just recently bought a record player, and I got a few. They're right behind me here, actually. And good news, I found one of the Four Seasons records. It's not technically that. It's the Jersey Boys Broadway soundtrack, but I'm just as happy with
No
that. 'cause
thanks to this guy from Truro in the
no
record
thanks
store.
to that guy at all. We got this at a Cape Breton record shop called Atomic in Sydney River that we absolutely love. I like getting my Funko Pops there, but now that I'm into records, that's my go-to shop. Actually, I was gonna say I'll never go back to that one. I feel like I would specifically seek it out if I were in Truro. Like, I actually think the opposite. Like, most people probably would want to avoid it. I think I would specifically seek it out and be like, I'd give them one of our business cards, actually. I'd be like, listen to episode 1 hour in, you got a shout out. No, but all honesty, I mean, if you're in Truro and you're looking for a vinyl record, it's probably the only place to go.
We don't know the name.
I don't remember the name. Yeah,
it
we'll
ain't.
have to look that up.
I
But
can see like vinyl records in my head on a big sign on the side.
yeah, it
But
was.
I could be wrong. I could be
something like that.
very wrong.
We'll have to look it up. It's near a Sobeys in Truro,
That's
and
all
it's
we have.
it's near a bridge too, because just on the other side of the road there was a bridge.
Yeah.
And we had to turn around because I remember we saw the bridge and I was like, we ain't supposed to be crossing a bridge, so that's why we pulled into the parking lot.
But along with our vinyl record store trip, we end up in we finally make it to camp, and no, we get there, we unload the truck, we're just chilling, whatever. We make food. I don't remember what we made. I think we made steak that night. Or was that the next night?
I think that was the next
We
night.
made hot dogs.
Was it hot dogs?
We might have.
Oh, don't even start with the hot dogs again, bro.
Anyway, let's not jump into
We
that
can't.
topic
You
again.
guys know by now that we can't talk about hot dogs without talking about 100 different things.
All right, but the first night, all right. Okay, so Chris was on top, I was on bottom. So we're both laying in the bottom, and we're reading all of the names and everything all over the bottom of the bed, and it was like just a bunch of people that have been to this place and have slept in this cabin. So there was a bunch of names from the 80s and 90s or whatever. And I'm upside down. Here I am turning my head upside down. Anyway, I'm upside down, looking 7 ways to Narnia at this name on the bottom of this bed. And I'm like, Emily Cammy, 1990 something. I'm like, I wonder who Emily Cammy is. She must have had a great time here.
It's like it was an odd name.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it just seems so out of place. And Chris comes over. See, mind you, I'm not fantastic at reading cursive, especially when it's 40-year-old faded pen on the bottom of a wooden bunk bed.
Pencil. Yeah. On
Anyway.
chipboard.
Yeah. Anyway, Chris comes over and he spins his head at it and he's like, "This is family camp, by." And I'm like, I was like, my bad. I can't read the faded pencil on the chipboard under the wooden bunk bed.
So they have all different camps there. They have like a teen camp, a kids camp, but they also have this thing which we were at called family camp, which people of all ages, usually families go. We used to go as our church, but this time we just went individually, just as me and him. And so this person, we call her Emily Cammy. That's not her name. We don't know. It's an unidentified person. Just wrote family camp 97 under the bunk because, you know, they were there in 97. And Robbie thought it said Emily Cammy, which we, on a daily basis to this day now, what is it, 8 months later, 9 months later,
Something like that, yeah.
continuously
Joke
about
this.
it almost every day without hesitation. It's still just as relevant as it was the day it happened.
Which brings me to the first time we joked about it, which was later that night.
Yep.
Okay, cabin's quiet. It's probably 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. 2 or 3.
And we're laying there and we're dozing off and we're talking a little bit. And I got my head up against the ladder because the ladder is a wooden ladder attached to the bed. So I have my head rested on the ladder. And I move my head backwards to find out that I can't move at all. And I'm stuck there. I'm like, the whimper that came out of me is nuts. I'm laying there. I'm like, oh, help. The
Wait,
bump bag.
I can do it.
All right.
He was like, I'm up top, ready to fall asleep. And all I hear is, dude, can you help? And I'm like, what?
So I'm laying there, tied to this bunk bed by my hair from a nail that was stuck out. And so Chris jumps down off the top.
Couldn't see a
It's
thing,
dark.
by the way.
It's pitch black. He jumps down, flicks the light, turns around, instantly falls to the floor.
I fell
dies.
to the
He
floor and laughed for
laughed
at least 10 minutes
laughed
before I helped him.
because I'm laying there. My head's like turned to the side of it, and I'm like stuck to the side of this ladder. And he's like, he's dying. I'm like, bro, can you just help me get untied from this
The
ladder?
voice, like, you have to put into perspective that Robbie is this how tall are you? 6 foot guy,
6'3".
big build, like tough guy that like never ceases to like show emotion half the time. And he's like, I knew he was desperate by the way that he was talking. He was like, please help me right now. Like it was, I've never, in 9 years of friendship, I've never seen you in such a vulnerable, sensitive state in my life. You were like on the verge of tears. I haven't seen you get there, but like you were on the verge of tears.
I would say I was more sleep confused.
Yeah.
I would say sleep confused because I'm half asleep and I got stuck to a ladder in a place I've never been in before.
You wake up in the middle of the night and you're just like, your head can't
Stuck
move.
to a ladder.
That would suck.
By a nail.
I would have done the same thing. I probably would have cried though. That's the only difference.
So we scramble. He finally gets off the floor, and I got my hair untied.
Yep.
And that was just the funniest thing. That's one funny thing that we live off of to this day is Emily Cammy.
It was the joke now that Emily Cammy comes up all the time. Is that Emily Cammy was the one that wrapped his hair around the
up on
nail.
bunk bed.
And we talk about it every single day.
Emily Cammy is Legendary bunk bed.
She is legendary. We joke about her all the time. Our friends joke about her all
It's
the
even
time.
it's even funnier when we don't say it's a bunk bed. We're just like, yeah, Emily Cammy from summer camp.
Yeah, it sounds like it makes it sound weird to people who don't know, but now the world knows.
It's just
So
a bunk
it's
bed.
out. It's a bunk bed. Emily Cammy is Robbie's imaginary friend. No, mine and Robbie's imaginary friend that we made at
She-
camp.
She kept us cozy, if anything.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But so that was
Day one of
that
the
was
trip.
that was night one of this trip, and the next morning there's a service the next morning. But the best thing about that morning to me was I slept right through everything. Chris gets up, makes his breakfast and whatever, and he comes over and he taps me on the shoulder while I'm sleeping, and I wake up and I'm like half asleep, half awake, and he goes, "There's bacon on the grill. You might want to get up and cook it." And he leaves with his Bible and his notebook and heads over to church.
You have to
service.
put into perspective that as two 20-year-old men, we didn't fully prepare for the trip. We kind of just got in the truck and went. We went to Walmart first. We got a bunch of groceries and stuff. But we took these cabins. It's just bunk beds. Like there's no sink, there's no stove, there's no anything like that, right? So we literally just borrowed one of the mini barbecues.
A camping
A
barbecue.
camping barbecue from the youth center here. We came here the morning of and took the barbecue, went and bought propane. And so every meal that we had for the entire week,
Was cooked on a little
Camping
grill in
grill.
the front yard of this cabin.
right in front of the thing, which was also right across from the bathrooms. And so everybody that went to shower or go to the bathroom asked us what we were cooking, and it was hilarious. But I made Robbie was fast asleep. Okay. First morning there, and I made eggs and bacon on the grill, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I put his on, but I realize I'm running late. The service starts at like, I think it was 10 o'clock it started, right? And I really wanted to go because
It was like 9:56.
yeah, it was like four or 5 minutes till I had to be there, which is it's like a 5 minute walk. So I was late for the service. So I'm like, well, I don't just want to cook for myself. So what I did was I threw some bacon on the grill, and as I'm waking Robbie up to go finish cooking his bacon that I started for him, I'm munching on my bacon on the way out the door. And I I think I shoved the last piece of bacon in my mouth as I went in the door to the service because I was hungry, man. I woke up, I was like, I'm ready to eat. So I start cooking and check the watch, and I'm like, ooh, I better get down the hill. So I just took
So-
my breakfast with me.
He leaves me with the girl that's on cranked. It's cranked,
Yep.
blasting the bacon up in the grill. I'm crawling out of bed, and I get up and I go and I'm making the bacon, and I'm like, how did I seen him eating eggs when I was first waking up? I'm like, how did he make eggs? So I'm like, I have to come up with my own contraption to make my eggs because I'm like, I don't want scrambled. I want sunny side up. So I'm like, I have to come up with my own contraption to make eggs, but I don't think we brought a frying pan with us.
No, we didn't.
So you just like kind of poured the egg into a tinfoil and scraped it around.
Yeah.
So I fold up this little tiny tinfoil tray into like a square, probably the size of a cell phone.
Yeah, I was about
And-
that. You sent me a picture.
And I'm like, okay. So I cracked the eggs. I put the eggs into that, and I just leave them sit. And they made some perfect fried eggs. And it was good. And I finished my bacon, and I go inside and wasted all of my data watching one YouTube video to eat my breakfast because I'm an iPad kid and I need to watch something while I eat.
And we
So
were out in the
weird.
sticks with like barely any service, no Wi-Fi at
So
all.
after that, I'm like, I'm not feeling church service today. So I go for a walk down to this little opening in the river to take some pictures and check it out. And I walk up on this rock. It's a pretty big rock on the edge of the water. And I don't know if I've ever told you this.
I don't know.
I don't know.
don't think
But I
so.
walk up on this rock. I'm standing there taking pictures, and a wasp comes out of the woods, right into my face, and I slip off the rock because I'm wearing sandals.
You didn't tell me this.
I slipped off the rock, and like fell flat on my back. And there was two people walking by, and they're like,
No
They
way.
yell down through the path to get there, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good."
I guess
Laying
so.
on my back
Yeah.
by the water. So I don't think I've ever told anyone that because
No.
I'm like I don't want to tell anyone that.
You didn't even tell me that, so you have definitely
like-
haven't told
I
anyone
was like
else.
I don't want to tell anyone that I slipped on a rock and got stung by a wasp.
Yeah. Speaking of things that we don't want to tell anyone, I have a story from that trip as well. So later that day, me and Robbie were feeling adventurous. You know, we're in a new place. We're 4 hours from home, 5 hours from home. And like you found out at the beginning of the podcast here, we like to collect things, a lot of which are surrounding us right now. But we kind of just wanted to go to Truro, like the downtown area where we were, to find a place to go to find collector stuff. And so we end up finding this shop, and we go in, and everything was fine. It was such a cool place though, like Funko
it's
Pops, all different. Like they had, I didn't even watch Harry Potter, but this place made me want to buy a Harry Potter wand because they just looked so
Oh,
cool.
they
Like
had them and they were so sick. I
like-
kind of just wanted one for decoration.
literally, like it made me want to watch the movies actually, which I might still do. But this place was just incredible. Huge place, so many just Funko Pops, so many collectibles, just the coolest place you can imagine. And that's not the best part of the story. The best part of the story is we then decided, hey, I wonder what else is around. But we didn't look anything up. We just were going to drive. Let's just drive downtown. How hard can it be, right? So we're driving. We leave the parking lot. I go straight, and then I turn left at a stop sign. Okay. So I stop, then I turn left. And then as I'm driving along, I notice a white line up the middle of the road. And usually in my head, I'm like, usually that's yellow. And then I think to myself, oh my goodness, this is a one-way street. And I'm like, I look behind me and there's no cars. And then I look back in front of me and there's two cars. And I'm the one going the wrong direction. Meanwhile, there's an old lady walking her dog
She
on the
made it
sidewalk.
very clear.
And she's like waving like crazy, yelling. We had the windows up, music going, so we didn't hear her, but we could see her mouth going like a mile a minute. It was insane. And she was just pointing and waving, like basically saying, "You're going the wrong way." And I was like, I know, because I could see not only the white line, but the two cars that are honking at me. So what I do is I guess parallel park backwards into a parking spot facing the wrong direction just to get out of the way, because this is downtown Truro. It's like a busy spot. I think we were on the main stretch too, like the main road in the town or city, I guess it is. And I have all these people honking at me, people on the sidewalk. And then I'm like, how do I get out of this? Because the only way I can pull out is going the wrong direction. Luckily, there's a break in traffic, and this one girl who was driving her car, she rolled her window down and she stopped and she let me go. And so what I did was I just yeeted myself out of the parking spot into a parking lot and turned around. And then somehow we found 30 seconds later, found the Sobeys that we were at the day before, and then passed the record shop again, going the wrong way. Not going, we went across the bridge the way that we weren't supposed to go the day before.
After those few days, everything started to mellow out and it was all right. But on our second last day, we
Made a
we wake-
mistake. No.
we wake up and we're like, we wanna go eat somewhere. So we're both Googling places to go, and Chris finds this diner. It's called Mary and Larry's Diner
Yep.
in Truro. And he sees the only thing that makes him want to go there is the milkshakes in the fancy glass with the whipped cream and the cherry on top.
It's like a Riverdale milkshake, which like every time I watch that show, they're sitting in the diner and I'm like, I want a milkshake in a glass and I want to feel like I'm in the 50s. For some reason, that's all I wanted. And so the night before we were looking it up, or maybe the morning of, we were looking it up like,
One of them.
what diners are there around here that are like old fashioned? And we end up finding this Mary and Larry's place.
So we go there and we get in, and it's a pretty nice looking place. It gives that like diner feel almost.
Yeah.
And we order fish and chips. Mind you, it was some of the best fish and chips I've had.
Such an amazing food.
was
And
good.
and the service there, the guys that were working were incredible as well.
Yeah. our milkshakes came out first. And we're like, we're hoping on this like fancy glass 50 styles.
We were
milkshake.
so excited.
No, we get paper cups.
Paper
and
cups.
we have straws, and we were pretty disappointed.
It was like
the cups are nice. I guess they were out of like a 80s movie theater.
it was like probably one of the more disappointing moments of my life. Like I wouldn't say like the worst moments of my life because like there's definitely other ones, but
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. Like that's the definition of that experience for me.
Yeah, it was.
Everything else was great, but the milkshakes is what we were really putting our money on.
Yeah.
We went way out of our way to get to this place too. It was
It
like
was like in the backwoods of Truro.
it was like completely off course. Plus, we got stuck in traffic. There was construction
Oh, it was terrible.
just to find this place. It was like an hour detour almost when you add up all the driving.
Yeah.
And for milkshakes, that didn't
Weren't-
end up
weren't
paying
even-
off.
They tasted all right.
Yeah,
like,
but
I
we-
we were hoping for the experience.
We had a different expectation.
Yeah.
And it was not fulfilled. But everything else was like to die for. Like the
Yeah.
fish and chips were
Oh,
great.
that was great.
The service was great. Like even my root beer was good. I think they opened it for me like right at the table.
Yeah.
Like it was nice. Definitely not a 50s experience. I mean, I didn't live then, so I don't know. But
I guess
I
it's about as close as
assume
we're gonna get around here.
I guess so. So we're pretty. I guess you could say we're content
Yeah,
with the
content
experience.
yeah.
Other than, I mean, I'm still mad about the milkshakes, but we'll get our glass cup milkshakes eventually.
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah, someday.
But after we go to this diner, we head back to the camp, and some of our friends are there, and we've been talking to them all day over the phone, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go swimming or whatever. Mind you, these friends are Jenny and Brandy. So we climb into Chris's truck again, and we head down to what's it called, the swimming hole, or what's it called?
Yeah, swimming hole.
We head down to the swimming place, and we stop the truck at the end of this pathway, and I'm like, why don't we just drive all the way down? And they're like, oh, we can't drive down there. It's too bad. I'm like, oh. Like, how long of a walk is it? They're like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, okay.
Oh, the sharp rock.
Yeah.
Sharp rock, because there's
Yeah.
this big rock that sticks out that you jump off of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the other place, but yeah, sharp rock.
Anyway, I'm under the understanding that it is not a long walk. And we start trekking on this walk, and for me, it was a lot more than 5-10 minutes. It was like 15-20 minute walk.
It
for
felt
me.
like 8 days.
Yeah, it was forever. So we get down there and we go swimming in this hole, or this whatever it was,
Yeah.
swimming spot. Had a cool like little waterfall thing and whatever, and it was nice. But we're sitting there, and Brandy and Jenny start talking about these caves.
Yeah.
Or this cave, and me and Chris get pretty intrigued, and we're like, oh, we decided we were gonna go to this said cave. We had to go to Art to figure out where the cave was.
Yeah, our friend Art.
So we
Pastor
go
Art.
back. We talked to Art to see if he wanted to go with us, but he didn't want to. So he just told us how to get there.
Mhm.
So we get to this cave. First, it's a waterfall.
It's a big waterfall.
It's huge. It's probably like 40 feet high.
Yeah. Or
So
more.
we're at this waterfall, and I'm like, okay, where's the cave at? And everyone tells me that's behind the waterfall, and I'm like, oh, that's sick. I've always wanted to go behind a waterfall.
That's right. Yep.
So I'm like, how do we get there? And they're like, we got to go up the hill. And but at this point, Chris is already halfway up.
I personally love heights for some reason, and I like mountains and hills, and I hadn't been on a mountain in this past year, which usually I hike, and I hadn't yet this past year, and I was like, as soon as we got there, I looked at the waterfall with everybody, and then I just made my way up the side of this mountain without telling anybody, which was
Yeah.
probably a mistake.
I didn't take. I was like halfway through taking it all in, and Chris is halfway up this mountain.
Little stretch.
So
Yeah.
we climb this mountain and we go over and we get into this cave, and I'm like, this is cool. And they're like, oh, we got to walk through it. I'm like, all right. So we walked through this cave. It was terrible. It's slippery. It was wet. It was a little cold.
A little cold.
But we get to the other side of this cave, and I'm like, okay, that was cool and nice, and it was fun. And I'm like, how do we get back? They're like, well, we can go up and back down, or we can go back through. And I'm like, I'm not going back through this cave. Not a chance. So
That
I'm
was a
like,
mistake.
so we start going up, and Chris and Brandy went a different way than we did, than me and Jenny did. So they're at the top already, pretty much, and me and Jenny get stuck on the side of this hill, halfway up.
It was like an extremely steep hill. Like
It
it was,
was
and
terrible.
like usually when you're climbing a hill, you have like rocks or roots to climb, like to hold on to. It was
Nothing
just
at
moss,
all. It was all just like grab it and it rips out of the ground.
complete moss.
And it doesn't help the fact either that I was in sandals,
Mm.
and I'm trying to climb up the side of this hill in wet sandals, and it's not working. So I then get to the point where I'm like, I'm just going barefoot. So I take the sandals off,
Ugh,
I stick them
terrible.
together, and I send it up the side of this hill.
That would hurt.
Sticks, moss, gravel, whatever else is on the side of this hill.
Roots,
Yeah,
like
whatever
roots
was
under
there.
the moss.
And I sent it up the side of this probably 40-foot hill. And we get to the top, and we're standing on a railroad track.
Yeah, somehow, like just out of nowhere.
And we're standing up there, and I'm like, where's the way down? And we go across, and the way down is triple as steep as the way we just came off.
Yeah, it was bad.
So we get to the point where we just pretty much slide down the side of this hill. Chris runs because he's nuts.
Yeah, I just wanted to get down, and mind you, it was like it was 3 against 1. I voted that we just go back through the cave, and everyone else was like, "No, it's just up there. It's just." And then it was like probably the most horrible hike I've ever done. It wasn't a hike. It was like rock climbing without any safety, and like, but the rocks are slip and slides.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be that bad, but it was
We had
that
no
bad.
idea. Because, mind you, the person we asked for directions to this place is like an 80-year-old pastor who does it every year. And so in our heads, it's like, well,
It
like,
can't
no,
be that bad.
no offense to him, but like, it's probably not that crazy. Turns out he hadn't done it in a few years, but we didn't know that. And it was probably the most difficult hike, mostly because we were in a rush. We wanted to get back to the camp, and it was just really difficult to get up the hill. So, all that being said, the trip while we were there was pretty crazy on its own. However, the trip back to Cape Breton, back to Glace Bay,
It was
was
interesting.
was also interesting. It was also a little eventful. Not as much as the whole week, but it was pretty eventful too. So we're trucking along, right? We're listening to music like we always do. And we're going a hefty speed, we're going, right? And then the highways back from Truro to here are like very hilly. So they go up and down a lot.
They have a
You-
lot of inclines.
a lot of inclines, exactly. So you go up and down and up and down and up and down for these long stretches, right? And my 2010 Dodge Dakota had treated me pretty good until this day. However, we're on the way back and we're passing through this place. It's about 2.5 hours from here, so we're about an hour and a half back home. Or no, I guess more than that. I don't know
Probably
how
2
far.
hours.
I don't know how far the place even was, but we're a bit into the trip, and it's been fine since. But the truck starts struggling. That's the only way I can really describe it. So when we're going uphill, it starts to just like completely lose speed. And I'm like,
Speed,
I got
power,
speed,
everything.
power. Yeah, I got people behind me, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Like, what's going on? But it's like we're making it. Like, we're not like broken down on the side of the road or anything. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want my engine to explode, so we're gonna pull over. So we went to Antigonish, which is this little town near where we were. We took the closest exit, which was this place, and we pulled into this subway. And Robbie looked under the hood. Everything seemed fine.
Mind you, I'm gonna add the fact that I was like, when we were going up these inclines, I'm like, your truck is acting like it has no oil in the engine
Yeah.
at all.
True, that's true. And so we go to this. He looks under the hood and doesn't really know what's going on.
Nothing seems out of place.
Yeah, it seems fine. You check the oil. There was oil like right? The oil was fine.
There was enough.
And I'm like, well, I ain't in no rush to get home, so let's go grab a sub. So we go in and we get some Subway, and man, my ideal sub, like the pizza sub with. Sometimes I get teriyaki chicken. On this particular day, I was a bit stressed out, so I got the teriyaki chicken on
I
it,
feel
right?
like we can make that into a whole other thing.
Oh, 100%. So
That's a whole different side story.
we talk about food on a regular basis every single day. So definitely we will talk about Subway a lot more. But we're eating, and we get back in the truck, and we're going along, and we're really struggling, but we ended up getting home, luckily.
Yeah.
And since then, the truck has given me some problems that we're very excited to talk about in the next episode. We have our agenda for episode 2, and vehicle problems are one of our hot topics. So stay tuned for that, and we will fill you in on what happened a month later to my poor truck, my poor Dodge Dakota, which has been fine on and off until today, the day we are recording our first ever episode. But like I said, we'll talk about that more later. With that being said, this has been our first episode of the Cape Breton Krabi Connection. That was our last point, our amazing Truro trip that we had some crazy stories on. We hope to grow in our podcast ability. This is our first time ever doing anything like this. We're definitely not used to talking to microphones. We're used to talking a perfect balance between entertaining and annoying a lot of people at once, rather than microphones or just each other.
100%.
And so I plead with whoever's listening to tune into our next few episodes, because we will get our rhythm eventually. You know, this is our first ever time, like I said, and we're learning. We're going to try to grow and evolve in our podcast ability. But whoever is out there listening, we really appreciate you helping us to bring our dream to life. This has been a long road, a lot of talk, and we finally decided to make it a reality. And we're beyond excited for it. We've prioritized it over so many different things, and we're ready to change the world little by little with our dry humor and our really good humor and our seriousness, but our also silliness at the same time. And we hope that you've enjoyed this episode.
And with that, check out our Facebook page, Cape Breton Krabi Connection. Check out our YouTube, where this podcast will be uploaded. And that has been the Cape Breton Krabi Connection.
Thank you very much.